meetings for January 16th. We have two special committee meetings tonight. We're going to start off with the special county resources.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to open County Resources Special Committee meeting at 6 p.m. We have 5 action items before us tonight. Let's get right to it. First one is a resolution urging action by New York State legislators to advocate on behalf of Columbia Greene Community College to increase their funding. Need a motion on this?
I'll second.
Dorrington seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Number 2, SECRA declaration and approving recommendations for including land into agricultural district number 124. I need a motion on this one.
Leonard. Vera.
And Rivera. Any discussion on this one?
Only that we did turn one of these down last year. It came back here.
Yep.
Have gone and talked to the neighbors and
They worked it out,
they worked everything out.
All right.
So
which is good.
Right.
it's a good thing.
Good. I was glad to see that happen, Todd.
Absolutely.
Nice to see that.
Yes, it is.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Opposed? I'm an abstain as well. Okay, thank you, Tammy. Number 3, authorizing participation in round 4 of the state septic system repair program. I need a motion on this one.
Rivera.
Second, Lucas. Little discussion. I know in years past, it's primarily been up on the mountaintop with the DEC and DEP up there. We're hoping to do something in other areas of the county along waterways. I know we've had some issues along Catskill Creek with some landowners there. Might be able to get some assistance through this state fund. So if anybody comes across people, neighbors that have a situation similar like that, they might be able to look at this program.
Mike, can I answer that? This is round 4. This is the first time that Greene County has eligible water bodies. It's a state program. There has been inquiries from residents, and I've spoken to a couple legislators about this. The DEP and the watershed program on the mountaintop already covers the mountaintop. So this one is specific to just eligible water bodies, and there's a little over 200 households within these water bodies. It's hard to decipher just from the GIS layer what water bodies are eligible. We've converted that to water bodies in the town by households. I will email the board all of the water bodies by town and what we would know as their name, not just an ID number, so that you're aware of which ones are eligible. It's not countywide, it's very specific to just these watersheds and water bodies. And all the state really did was said, this is a priority stream. They put a GIS buffer all the way around it, and they counted the number of households within it. They may not all be failing septic systems, but when the board approves it, we're going to be partnering with Soil and Water. They're going to do 2 tasks, planning will do tasks, and then we'll roll the program out. But we do have to let the state know by the end of the week if we're participating, which we're prepared to do. And then once you get that list, it would be good with your knowledge about those water bodies and those landowners to get the word out.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Warren. Much appreciated. Any other discussion on this item? Yes, Daryl.
The only difference, I mean, it's the same thing, but it's different because the DEP that you're talking about, it's on the mountaintop and it's divided. Any waters that run towards their reservoirs, that's what they do. And this is similarly the same thing, but that's the difference. I mean, DEP won't cover anything down here because the water doesn't run into their watershed.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Number 4 is authorizing agreement with the Create Council on the Arts. I need a motion on this one. I'll make the motion. A second.
Rivera.
Rivera. Any discussion on this one? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Last one, authorizing Greene County Cultural Fund contracts. Sean, I believe this is the same as last year, right?
Both of these at 4 and 5 are both the same.
Okay. I need a motion on that.
I'll make the motion.
Dorrington, second. Buelich. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. That does it for County Resources Special Committee meeting. I would entertain a motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Rivera, seconded by Lennon. We are adjourned.
Second. Okay, I'd like to open up a special public works committee at 6:06. And we're gonna start out tonight with Warren and his transportation director, Sandy Koza, for an update.
Let's see.
So, good evening. Sandy Koza is the Director of Transportation with Ulster Greene ARC. Actually, I think it's Ulster Greene Putnam ARC now.
It is, but it's the Archman Hudson.
So we've been under contract with the ARC for a long time, ever since we did a sole source procurement. And we have a contract with the ARC to run our Greene County Transit public transit program. So we have a couple resolutions on the agenda that I'm going to speak to, but since we haven't talked about the operation of Greene County Transit in a while, we thought it would be good to have Sandy come in and just kind of go over some of the operational issues, an opportunity for the board to ask any questions, and then I'll dive into the resolution.
So, hi, everybody. I'm a little nervous, public speaking, so bear with me. My name is Sandy Koza, and I'm the Director of Transportation for Greene County Transit and the ARC Mid-Hudson. The ARC Mid-Hudson employs me, and through the partnership with Greene County and the ARC Mid-Hudson, we do a coordinated partnership transportation program. So we have 8 routes that go throughout Greene County in different areas. We also have one that crosses over the bridge to Columbia County. And we try to hit areas, well, it's focused to hit areas such as the college, the hospital, and the train station. We have made great connections over there, but we still need a lot of ridership to get those numbers up. We employ 13 drivers to cover these runs because they're split shift runs. And they go out in the morning, they pick up people, and then to get in so that people can get an 8-hour stay of work. We provide 4 hours of service from the drivers in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. One of the runs, 7-Eleven, that crosses over the bridge and goes over to Columbia County, that one does 11 trips per day. So we use 2 full-time drivers for those runs. Go into a little more. So we concentrate our efforts mostly on who we're transporting, and that could be hospital runs, medical runs, shopping, employment, general services, people trying to get to doctor's appointments, or just grocery shopping. We have a couple of different runs that are actually have different types of splits. And these are supported through financial capacity, through Greene County, your sponsorship on some of them. These are ones that don't necessarily benefit the ARC. And through the coordinated partnership, we do a split on runs that do really affect the ARC and providing transportation services to people with disabilities for their day program services. They also use it for supported employment services. We have a program called SEMP, and that's where we take leadership. ARC employees will support individuals with disabilities in helping find jobs and also transportation to and from their jobs. So they come to us with a lot of those requests. Our drivers are more than just drivers. They have specialized training that's required through OPWDD, the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. And those requirements are actually those are direct support certifications that we put our drivers through. So through this coordinated partnership, there's a lot of extras that we get, and that's overtrained drivers. Our drivers, there's only a few states in the country that require 19A. 19A is a school bus driver certification. So our drivers are all 19A certified. They are drug and alcohol. We have a drug and alcohol program where they're drug and alcohol tested. We are certified by the New York State and Federal Safety Board Administration, and that's through public transportation. And the drivers are trained throughout all of these different aspects. They're also civil rights trained, ADA trained. Every single driver is trained for a wheelchair lift capacity. And this doesn't go normal in a public transportation system, which makes ours so wonderful because it gives that extra support. I'm gonna go on to next page. Thank you for bearing with me, you guys. So our buses, they're getting a little more too expensive to maintain. Most of our buses, we have 7 buses in our fleet that are 2015s. Those buses, all of our buses are DOT inspected twice a year. If they fail or they need additional service or the inspector has questions about it, then they have to go through another inspection after they get fixed. So as you can imagine, maintenance, the cost of maintenance on these vehicles can get expensive. 3 buses that are owned by the county that are funded through 5311 federal funding. Those buses are 2018 buses. And although we try to rotate the fleet to maintain proper mileage and make the miles even on the buses, we're still up over 100,000 miles on each one of these buses. Due to post-COVID, Ford manufacturing, which is the type of vehicle that we use, has slowed down drastically. And it went from getting a bus within 6 months through a grant to almost 2 years. So we are working on a grant with Warren right now to ask the federal government for money to purchase 3 new buses. And hopefully that'll keep most of our fleet going. What we do is in each application that we give to the federal government, we ask for 2 more additional buses to eventually start rotating our fleet and really start to replace these older vehicles. We're trying to get ridership back to pre-pandemic levels. And it's, although we're not really fully at that capacity yet, we're seeing a lot of decreases in students who are now doing remote education. So we're not gonna really get a lot of those back, but we continue to advocate and to promote the service to hopefully get more ridership and support. We do get reimbursement from the federal government based on revenue miles. Revenue miles are from the first bus stop of the day to the last bus stop of the day. After that, from that last bus stop into the garage, those are deadhead miles and we don't get reimbursement on those. So we get reimbursement on revenue miles and passengers. So that's in addition to the operations money and the federal money that Warren's gonna be talking about later on. Right now, our budget, total budget for operations is $1,596,000. And this is after revenue, I'm quoting Warren's words, as you can tell. These are basically, revenue projections. The net costs to the county are approximately 698,000. And for the ARC, it costs about $255,000. So it's based on a cost share formula between the county and ARC. And ARC provides all of the operations for both county and public riders, as well as clients that are riders, like I was talking about earlier. Some of the routes are 100% county allocated, like 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is like I said, the college run that we do going across the river. That one is through a separate contract, and that's county 100% paid. Well, with cost share through New York State DOT and the federal government, which is FTA, Federal Transit Administration. The county was awarded $455,000 in CARES funds, and that was from our request at New York State DOT. We're persistent in our requests, and operational costs continue to increase. Maintenance, fuel, salaries, those are some of your larger costs. Maintenance is a big one, and salaries is a big one. We go through audits, and we are exceptional in our audits. We had a few recommendations this round, and it was due to expiring contracts and different things that we're on top of, but they're gonna come. So basically, we do pretty well in our audits. That was one of the only times this final audit from New York State DOT, amongst our triannual audits that we get from DOT and PTSB and civil rights and everybody else that audits us. This was the first year that we've ever gotten a recommendation to do anything additional to what we were already currently doing. Not a lot of other providers can say that across New York State, especially in a small rural community such as ours. So I think that we're doing pretty well as far as compliance with operations and being persistent on advertising and trying to get that ridership back. Does anybody have any questions for me?
So how many runs a day do you do, and how many runs go to the mountaintop?
We have 2 runs that go to the mountaintop. One is focused on Hunter Mountain, and the other one is focused on Windham Mountain. Those only run twice a week, once on Wednesday with the focus on Hunter Mountain. But what we did was, instead of going up and coming straight back using the same exact route, which is what it was when we started this project prior to us, we did a triangle from Hunter to Prattsville to Windham, coming back across and back into Hunter, and then coming back down into Catskill. When we do the Windham Mountain focused run, we go up 23A, which is Windham side focused, and then we go all the way up to Prattsville, come down into Hunter, cross back over and back through Windham.
So you make 2 runs a week to the mountain, and then the rest of it's all in the valley.
Correct.
So out of the $1.5 million budget, the county pays $700,000.
Yes. Yes.
And it's always a moving target based on revenue. And why don't I jump in and address it, the 2 resolutions, and add to a couple items, and then there'll be more questions.
Well, again, if I can ask one more thing.
Sure.
Do you not see a need to go to the mountaintop more? Or are the people there, are they not aware of it? why is there only 2 runs a week going to the mountain?
So there's 2 runs a week going to the mountain because we did try on Mondays and we tried to add some runs. We were doing it to follow up with, and actually the senior bus started doing it on Mondays as well. So what we were doing, we started doing it on Mondays. We weren't getting the ridership. There was no call for it. And that seems to be, go
Can
ahead,
I ask you a question?
Of course you
Right
can.
there.
of course.
So how did you inform the people on the mountaintop that the bus was available? Did it go right through the RIP? Did you send it out through the Golden Agers? How do they know that that's available? Because I always get, because the one thing I always get is, you know, I try and get here and there, but I have no ride.
Right.
So if you're telling them about it and they're not taking it, shame on them, but if they don't know, shame on us.
So what we do to advertise all of these runs is we try to get involved with as many community projects as possible. We also have a mobility manager, and the mobility manager's focus is to partner up the passenger with the ride. And doing this through meetings and through presentations and getting every human service agency they can. We've been to other forums that included some of the representatives of the mountaintop that requested us there. We had a government day up there that was a transportation focused day. And there was a lot of questions and answers about that. That one got very specific. And we were trying to make arrangements with the owners back at that time to actually provide more service. The goal of New York State DOT is to make sure that they're not wasting their money, the taxpayers' money, and to provide the services that are available and that we're funded for. If we can't prove the rides, we can't ask for the funding. So what, I have a formula that I use, and we use on-call or flag stops. If we get at least 3 requests, we'll add that stop. And we'll start out with an on-call stop. And that way it gets the rider comfortable. The mobility manager will go along, they'll meet the person, ride with the bus, and do travel training, what we call. It teaches you how to approach the bus, flag the bus, pay with your ticket, notify the driver, this is where you want to get off at the next stop. And then also meets you back, tells you exactly when you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to be to meet the bus. That's your bus, not to confuse your ride with a different one. So they'll do this and they'll offer this service to not only use that one particular run that the person is new to, but also how to maybe go inside the village of Catskill, using the Catskill shuttle, using Route 711 to maybe go over, have lunch over, or meet some friends, you know, just take a ride. So they do these travel training projects as many times as requested. By also informing the person, you know, this is, I'm here, if you get confused or you need to use a different service with us, call me and let me know. So we do through route schedules, to answer your question. We do through Facebook, we advertise through Facebook, we have a website, and we go and participate in public forums.
Do you go through the RIP radio on a mountaintop? Seems like a lot of people listen to RIP radio.
See, the only
No,
problem
but
is.
thank you for that.
I would suggest that, putting your schedule on there and talking a little bit about, they'll be happy to do an ad, I'm sure. Talk a little bit about your service. and
RIP
your days.
radio.
RIP radio, it's at
Yeah, thank you.
a lot of people on the mountaintop depend on that,
We can-
radio.
We can definitely advertise that.
See, a lot of people that I'm concerned about, as I'm sure everybody is, are not of the age where they're on the computer or the cell phone or anything. I mean.
I understand.
You can't reach out to these people any other way than, like the RIP.
The senior centers.
Senior centers.
We
and
go
stuff.
there.
So, and I'm not saying you're not doing that, but if you see a need, of course,
Of course.
it would be increased, which
Yes.
is where we're trying to.
We also have a transportation advisory board, and on that board are a lot of human service agencies. They're really the eyes and ears. There's a crossover, for instance. We rely pretty heavily on human services and the aging buses to reach out to that population. We actually have a contract with them. So the people that are better than necessarily we might be in identifying need, we meet with them, our mobility manager meets with them. There's a lot of fingers to this.
Yeah.
They also, our mobility manager has also made connections in some of the high schools for kids that were interested in college or even just a job down off the mountaintop. And people going up to the mountaintop. So our focus is the same thing. We want to provide that ride. We want to pack these buses up. Right now, we're using 16 passenger vehicles. I want to see a lot larger or more.
So
More
you
of those.
basically go to like Prattsville up 23
Yeah.
and then back down 23A, and that's
Yeah.
the circle.
There's a senior housing development up there in
Yes,
Prattsville.
yep.
And these people came from the city without vehicles. And they were put there without, you know, anything, any access to, you know, necessary things other than catching a ride down to Jim's Great American.
Right.
So we extended the run, and which was where we used to end, was at Jim's Great American. We extended the run, and we also had meetings. They have a small space where people can come and they can get together, and we've done presentations there as well. And we ended up picking up a lot of riders from that area.
Good.
But we do also senior, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Senior center.
Thank you,
You're
senior
welcome.
centers, veterans, agencies. We have anybody that will listen to us, we will talk to,
Okay,
okay?
well, thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Work with Chris Cardone at all from Workforce Development?
Our mobility manager does, I do know that name, yes. Workforce development,
So
we
you-
usually get a table at, a lot of the college, a lot of different types of workforce development types of services, and we'll have a table there. Our mobility manager will sit at the table with GCT flyers and route schedules, explain to people how to use the system, and hand out business cards to make sure people are aware.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you would know if somebody came in or looking for jobs, or could we get there, he would know who that person was, where they live, where they go.
We've even extended our service, and we've talked to some of the industries up on Route 9W and going up there to basically hit the Route 9W corridor, and have tried to match up some of our schedules to what their shifts are. And some of them were very challenging because they go based on when the tractor trailer arrives, which is hard, as you can imagine, to schedule around. But we do everything we can, and we're always open to ideas and suggestions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's two agenda items. Want to reiterate that the county contracts with the state. The state has a 5-year contract agreement, and then every year is a continuing agreement with the ARC. We just ended the 5-year continuing contract agreement with the state. So this resolution will authorize us to do the next 5 years. Although they haven't produced the contract and they haven't given us the date yet, because the state actually operates a year behind we do. So we're always forecasting where we're gonna be with revenue and expenses. And when we get that 5-year contract period, it'll be a new contract number, and then we'll contract with the ARC. The ARC contracts, they do everything for us. I do a lot of the administrative and contractual and work with the Transportation Advisory Board and oversee a lot of the functions, but the daily operation of the Greene County Transit System is done by the ARC. They employ the people, they train the people, they're unionized bus drivers. They do the maintenance, they run all of the operation and all of the routes, and there's a role for us and there's a role for them. There's federal revenue, there's state revenue, and as Sandy indicated, we were pretty persistent this year because the cost of transportation naturally keeps going up for those reasons. And we asked the state, our costs were going up, we wanted their costs to go up. We asked for funding in something called supportive employment. They said, we can't do some supportive employment right now, but they're giving us another one-time influx of $450,000 to put into our transportation system. But it's a one-time shot. So while that helps us for this operating period, for 2025, we won't have that anymore. So we're always looking at trying to get as much as we can from the state and feds. Unfortunately, it operates on a formula base. So it's based on the number of miles and the number of passengers. So it's a tough ball to manage. So the resolution that's here allows us to contract again with the state, contract with the ARC, and there's a couple special provisions within this year's resolution. The state has asked us to reconfirm the sole source procurement that we use with the ARC, meaning they put money in, they put their passengers and they use some of their buses as we do too. It's a very unique public transit operation. It's not one that we can just put out to bid and anybody can bid on. It is a very specialized system and a service that's been reviewed and approved by the DOT. They want us, because of federal procurement regulations, it's time for us to go back out and go through that sole source procurement process. It's our intent to justify that process, and that relationship would remain the same with the ARC. The second thing that we need to do is update the Human Service Transportation Needs Assessment that we do every 5 years. That speaks to some of your issues, Daryl, about how do we meet with different organizations? How do we strategize for operations in the future? Do we need to make changes? How do we best serve the ridership needs of the public? So those two are embedded in this resolution as well. So that's the first one. Now, the second one is we have aging buses. So we were awarded a grant years ago from the state to purchase new buses. COVID got in the way a lot of that, and as Sandy said, there's a huge delay on ordering buses. We're looking at 3 buses, and I think it's 369,000, and have to look at the resolution.
367,000.
Thank you. 80% of that is paid by the state, 10% is paid by the federal government. We cover 10%. Most of what we have to do is a match on state transportation. Operating authority is 10%, the mobility manager is 10%, the bus purchase is 10%. In this case, we have extra funds that were awarded to the county from the state. They're called ACT funds that will fully cover the cost of the local 10% share. So these 3 buses, even though it may take a year or more to get here, are fully covered by either state or federal grant sources. Next year, we're going to need to come back and put in for another 2 or 3 just so we can keep these cycled. Any questions on contracts or bus purchases?
Out of curiosity, the ARC, are they allowed to contract with the school districts within the county for kids with special needs that might be going here or there instead of, you know, if a bus is already going in a certain area or whatever?
So it's a different type of operating authority for school bus and school age transportation. And we're not lined up for that right now. But the ARC specializes in adults with developmental disabilities. So it would really be outside of the scope of services that we offer. We've been approached about that, but it would go a little bit too far as far as what we can.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Warren, if I remember right, we're kind of a pretty small target today as well as far as the reimbursement funds. They're very specific in what they'll reimburse for, and I think that's part of why our contract for the bus that goes over across the river is higher than cost for us, because it doesn't fit the mold.
Yeah. Yes, and it's also what Sandy spoke to. It's a cost share formula. So there's a formula for everything for the state and the feds, and we get a certain amount of revenue and certain things are eligible and not eligible. And then in the contract we have with the ARC, there's a pretty substantial spreadsheet that shows these are the routes that are either 100% paid for by the county, like the 7-Eleven run to the college. The shuttle that goes around Catskill, that's paid for by the county. Much of the other runs, the runs that the ARC puts their adult clients on, we cost share. So they contribute that, and then we pick up the balance.
I just asked, did I hear correctly that the ARC is keeping track of the number of riders, like, for example, going to Columbia County to the train station?
Yes.
They keep track of those numbers, and if it's, is it warranted to keep going with that, or you're not sure?
I don't, yes. Because, well, there's a goal here. I mean, it's.
Right, I understand that,
service.
right.
And we're post-pandemic. When we were pre-pandemic, absolutely, absolutely. What's it gonna turn to? So I have a hard time saying yes or no to that because this is a whole new beginning to post-pandemic.
But the ARC is keeping track of the numbers.
We absolutely do. We have to track many numbers based on what New York State DOT and FTA requires. So we track, but we track a little bit more. I'm a statistical person, so I need to know the numbers, right? We track where we're picking up new riders, where riders are departing the bus. Excuse me. And we track actually if they're funded based on a ticket, a prepaid pass that they purchased. So we basically know who's on our buses. There's certain things that we're not allowed to report, based on names, but we keep track of them.
I want to add to that a major priority of the legislature several years ago when we started the 7-Eleven was to get those buses for our students, for the hospital, for workers or students across the bridge. And the ridership isn't where we would ideally like it to be. We try hard to do that. We meet with the college regularly. We jointly market it. And it ebbs and flows based on courses, seasonality. There is more education now of college classes in the high school versus at the college. There is a good amount of money that requires for the expense to keep that bus running. And every time you make a change, you have to publicize it. It takes a long time to make a change. It has a relationship to the riders. It's so difficult to keep riders. There's a lot of balls there. But when we do our human transportation needs assessment, we will look again at routes, riders, expenses, revenue, and college, and really see whether we forecast the ridership will really be there for the number of routes. It may be that we need to reduce the number of routes. We certainly don't want to cancel routes as a signature priority for us to keep a good, healthy relationship with the college and make that as an incentive for students to go to Columbia Greene. We have a lot of different programs where we try to support the college as best we can. But she keeps a master spreadsheet monthly that's required for submission to the state for reimbursement as well.
Very good.
Thank you.
I just got one quick word. I know we were having an issue with our pass rate with our DOT inspections.
Yep.
Did that get straightened out or is getting straightened out?
It's just a continuing challenge, and we've been engaging Scott Templeton to see if there are some actions that he can do with his manpower and use of facilities to help with the inspections. The DOT has a very rigorous inspection process, and I believe it is increased again largely because of the deaths that occurred with the limousine. So Sandy can speak more to that if, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. I just was, if we were finding a different avenue and getting them looked at better before they go for their inspection, because I know once you go past a certain point.
That's right.
they're all the buses.
When it fails, it's harder to correct it and put it on in a lengthy process than, but many of our buses, it's more and more maintenance and it's harder and harder to keep them going. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks, Warren. Okay, moving on to the proposed action items. Authorizing agreement with New York State Department of Transportation and the ARC at Hudson, section 5311, operating and capital assistance for sponsors with continuing agreement with third-party operations.
Rivera.
Rivera and Legg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Number 2, authorizing vehicle purchase, Greene County Transit.
Martinez.
Legg Martinez, or Lennon Martinez? Lennon Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to close.
Second close. Who's the second?
Rivera.
Rivera. You're closed.
We all set, Tammy?
Yeah, Linda was on, but I see she's dropped.
Did she? Okay, all right. Well, I'll be standing in for Linda tonight. She asked me to do this. So we're gonna open Economic Development and Tourism Committee at 6:42. There are no action items for this evening, but we do have Warren Hart here. We have Patty Austin with Tourism, and we have the architect for the Tourism Center, David Murray here. Would like to speak. Floor is yours.
Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
Hello. Like you said, I'm Dave Murray from Catterskill Associates, architect for the new visitor center. So yeah, there's the image. So my design directive here was for it not to look like a Stewart's, right? Because this is, believe it or not, that is the in place of the existing Stewart's, wrapped it with a barn-like structure, as I was directed to. So I don't think anyone's going to think that's a Stewart's anymore. So the other things were that it needed to be, efficient and durable. So we use efficient and durable materials. They're all specified. Steel roof and fiber cement siding. So nothing extravagant. But I think it's really a great thing for the county. So the other thing that we're looking at there is that there's the glass entry, which is sort of similar to the thing that was there on the existing building, and it sort of brings this interest and also brings light deep into the building, since the center of the public space is there in the center of the building. So it does that. So if you could turn to the floor plan, I'll walk you through some of the next page. So as you can see, there's a vestibule which has a in the parking lot, vestibule, double door airlock, with a tile floor, and into the public area with a reception desk. And that continues that high space into that public gallery. Most space for some display work. some built-in shelving for the made in Greene County items there at the top of the page. Shelving, bottle filler and everything. So, and then the public restrooms are back here. This sub hallway, and then a little bit of separation, privacy from the public space where people are moving around. So the bathroom doors are kind of back off in here. There's a janitor's closet. This is an existing bathroom, which I don't know, I'm sure you won't know, but it's, we started by renovating and realized that we're just replacing all the fixtures exactly where they were. It's a perfectly fine bathroom, so we're just changing a few of the finishes inside there where we have to access things. So, but this is a new bathroom, and then there's an employee lavatory there. So this is, you know, by having the desk here, I think it gives some control back into these, you know, more private areas of the two offices. Hall with a photocopier area, and this is the, you know, where a lot of the work in the tourism department is dealing with these tremendous number of flyers that come in and out. So there's a room for sorting through them and storing them out here, breaking down those pallets, right? And then, but even before that, they come in off the truck on these big pallets. They need to be stored in there. So we're instead of building an outbuilding, or specs are calling for us to buy one of these pre-made Amish sheds. So it looks akin to the rest of the building, but I think that's the most efficient way to do that. It's involved already. So, and then, you know, over on the side, there's a nice conference room and the director's office. And, you know, given the space was fairly tight there, we needed a mechanical room for some of the new equipment. So we're accessing that up through this actually pull down access in the fire storage. So we can go up into this, taking advantage of that new roof that we're putting on there, kind of going over the existing trusses and everything, but so that new roof has some space up there. So we took advantage of that and put a mechanical room up there with the larger pieces of equipment. And it actually, by leaving most of the existing trusses, we were able to use that as a way to move ducts around and actually, and then insulating on top of that. So the new roof, the new gabled roof sits on top of that. And the insulation sits on that, basically on top of where the existing roof, the existing flat roof is. So you just kind of piled insulation up there, and then but then the so that gave the advantage of having that nice place to move things around horizontally across the building. So there were some advantages to working with an existing building as opposed to building new. Right? So I think we got a lot out of having an existing building that was given to us, and I think what we did was reasonable and nothing extravagant, but I think it came out nice.
How do you access that space?
It's actually a pull down ladder here, like an attic access ladder. So
I have to get stuff up and down.
Yeah,
and replace equipment out there?
Yeah. So we had to make a big one. It's a little bit wider than the one in your house. So it's full 30 inches wide, and it was something I had some back and forth with the engineer, the HVAC engineer about that, because he had a specific piece of equipment that you might have to replace at some point. So, but they do have to go up there and change filters and stuff. But the way it's designed, it's within the thermal envelope, so you're not going through the insulation to get in there. So
It's not a hot water boiler system with the boilers up there though. So can you talk to the MEP and then heating the pool?
Yeah, as you can see back here, I'm sure you're all familiar with the air source heat pump mini split system. So that's what we're using to heat and cool the place with, which I think is.
That's total heat, there's gonna be no other heat source, heat and air.
Yeah, that's
Just the splits.
Yeah, just the splits, yeah, that technology has come a long way, so, Mitsubishi,
Yeah.
About 20 years ago,
So you,
got it, so you can actually scrub heat out of 12, 13 below air, believe it or not, still, more efficient than like electric resistance, right? So it's a good system, and it's, it's kind of robust because there are multiple units. So, if one goes down, you still have
Yeah.
a lot of your system going.
So what-
Also gives you more control. There's a lot of good things about it, but, so that's.
What do you have?
Yeah.
excuse me, David, do you on those units there, what do you have, one head for each unit? Or did you do multiple heads?
There are, there are multiple heads, and some of them are actually ducted. So so there's a big indoor unit with a fan that moves, that actually moves air in the middle, mini ducts. Because you don't wanna, they don't make them small enough for some of the rooms, right?
Yeah.
So,
So like what Pat was talking about, getting equipment up and down the stairs and up through it.
yeah,
A lot of old barns will have a side door up on the gable above the roof line where you can just, for that specific purpose, you can open that.
yeah, I know, I toyed with that idea. I just was trying to keep it simple, and, you just have to go up there and change the filter most of the time, and, once every 25 years, you have to,
Right.
squeak a piece of equipment up that stair, you can. I don't think it's worth the effort to create a whole outside door out there. I agree, though. That's
How much
a nice thing about old barns.
How much does the piece of equipment you're talking about weigh? 100 pounds, 1,000 pounds?
It's about as big as this desk here. So it's probably more like, 500-600 pounds.
And you're gonna put that up stairs?
Well, not me.
Like Frank does it.
Right.
But it's been measured out, I'm sure.
It has, yeah, oh, yeah, no, I went back and forth with the engineer to make sure that it fit up there, and he assured me that it could be done, so that it was reasonable, that it wasn't,
When they built the pyramids, I guess it should be done.
Yeah, exactly. It's once every 25 years, I mean, maybe, hopefully it lasts longer than that.
Yeah.
But, mainly the long piece of equipment was the energy recovery ventilator, which is the, the thing that brings fresh air in, and as a public building.
I kind of agree with Mike, though. I think now's the time to change something like that, so you get stuff in and out easier. I mean, I'll be a long time dead, but poor guy's gotta do
How
it.
much is that gonna add to the?
Yeah, no, it's just, it shouldn't really have, you're talking about instead of your gable end wall above your trusses, above your base of the truss, you're
Putting a
talking
header
about
in,
taking
instead
3
of
studs
doors.
out and boxing it and having a door there that you just unscrew on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well,
The
it's-
airspace, it's not.
You got a
It goes into
forklift
the,
that can lift
it's
it
in
right
the
up.
thermal envelope, so it would have to be an insulated door, right?
Why is
That equipment
why is
has
the
to-
upstairs being insulated?
Just mechanical, because that's required by code, right? All the ducts and stuff have to be within.
Well, what if the units are the ones you would have to take out? So why would the units be in that envelope?
There, because otherwise you have to wrap them in insulation. That's the way it's done now. It is. I can show you, you advance to the next page. So this is the room here. It's very small, right? Video. Anyway, it's underneath there. But that room is insulated up there. So, I mean, it's possible, I'm just not sure that it's
I'm
It's
not
worth it, worth
incurring
it.
any more
Well,
expense
for
on
it.
this building.
You
It's
know,
an
this is- we do-
expensive, small building.
We do a lot of, a lot of my job is trying to find the just right design and not spending money where we don't have to, so. I think that, I mean, I can entertain it, and I can talk with the engineer about it.
Speaking of what you start with, what do you see the first, on day one, what do you walk into?
The building, what do you walk into? You walk into that beautiful glass entrance?
No, I mean before the rehab. So when this project starts, what are you walking into in Stewart's? Is the tile there, is there wires hanging where
Oh,
just
oh,
been cut? I mean, what?
No, everything, yeah, it is, it needs to be done. It's got a little VCT tile, it's, it's a Stewart's, and it's 30 years old, 40 years old or something. So it's really, right, so we're taking, taking down all the finishes. One thing that we are doing is leaving the brick veneer on the outside, going over that. As part of that wrapping of the building, right? It's, continuous insulation on the siding of the building.
Inside, you're basically gonna take it down to studs.
Yes,
And redo the whole square footage inside.
correct, yeah, yeah, right now, there's a drop ceiling, we're taking down the drop ceiling, putting sleepers on the underside of the existing trusses, and then sheetrocking the ceiling. It'll be, a modern office.
So when you put the equipment upstairs for the first time,
Uh-huh.
are you gonna carry it up the stairs, or are you gonna have a big hall, put everything up and then enclose the hall in the back end? I'm only asking these things because you know
Depending on
what?
when it shows up.
Well, my father,
That's the contractors, that's what contractors do,
But
they
here's the
have to
problem.
organize that.
my father bought a brand new car one time, and after 3,000 miles, the wheel bearing went bad.
Yeah,
And that was only like a couple months down the road.
Yeah.
What happens if this piece of equipment you're putting up in that attic goes bad after a year? And all of a sudden you find out, hey, probably would have been better to maybe get that up a different way.
well, that would be a warranty issue, so that would be covered, we wouldn't be paying for that, right? So if it was after a year, so. But
I'm just trying to make it simple in the future, because stuff happens that
yeah,
you don't anticipate. Like Mike says, maybe now's the time to come up with a better idea.
I think you can get it up there. I think chain hoists and things like that will get it up there.
Right.
Or making sure that you have provisions wide enough, big enough.
yeah, it
through
fits, it fits, he assured me that it goes up there, so. I don't know, I may have exaggerated with it, but I don't know, yes, 500 pounds, it's probably less than that.
With Patty here, I know you guys, with the entrance, we had looked when we were, the first drawings we got of a barn style looking building along with the front entrance with a timber frame entrance.
Yeah.
I wasn't really aware that you were gonna actually dive into the building with a cathedral ceiling at the same pitch. And why did you just decide to do that? I mean, that's a pretty good expense, because you're cutting in those trusses, you gotta put a header board on the backside.
We're removing those
The scissors.
4 trusses in the
Yeah.
center there, where that is. It really makes that space, that is the public space, that's the space that's gonna, impress people when they walk in, and say, this is Greene County, and this is a special place. Plus, there's that gable end, I was just talking to Patty about this, that gable end there would be a great place to project things up there. So it's like a display area, and the building isn't that large, right? So we're, it's about the same size as what we have now, a little bit bigger, but, so like, it's at a premium, the space in there.
What's
So
the
it gives-
footage on that
it's
footprint?
2,000 square feet.
2,000?
What is it, Warren?
2,400.
24? I mean, that's the focal point right there. That acre is the focal point.
You get your natural light inside from it.
So the vaulted part lines up with that. And it's the standard height width on the wings in the gallery space. And that's where the airlock is, that's where the glass is. That's where the-
Are you continuing with timber frame inside, or are you just
No.
punking it?
No, yeah, no, it's just,
Punking
it's
through?
all, it's actually, we are doing, veneer plywood on the ceiling and on this upper part of it, so it's basically sheets of plywood set very carefully, neatly, eighth an inch.
Okay.
So it keeps that sort of wood feel.
Rustic
That
look.
does go in, but not the timber frame, just the porch is timbers, those are blue lands, actually.
Actually, the old visitor center was all open space, and that had very high ceilings as well.
So, yeah, and you know,
Same space too.
some of the other things about the building, you know, we have an ad alternate for a picnic pavilion out there, which you see on the right-hand side.
You wanna show the site and some of the
Yeah,
site?
we would have to switch over to the site plan.
What do you mean an ad alternate? That's a possibility?
Yeah.
It's an option. We take the bid, but we don't have to award it.
Oh,
We can
okay,
award the
'cause I
main
thought that-
building,
Yeah, I thought that we were
but then
definitely doing that.
The pavilion out. Or add, it's an option. You
Personally,
do it up front, you still gain the economies of scale, but
I think the pavilion
depending on
adds
how the
to it.
budget comes in with where the construction world is right now.
Cheaper to do it now than put it on
Absolutely.
back end.
Right, but as an alternate, we always have that option, right, as opposed to having to do it later or.
$1 million garage.
Yeah, so
Would add to it.
$1 million garage.
this is all the existing, so you go to the next page.
You voted no for it.
They put everything in the ceiling.
You know, one of the things about this site plan is that, you know, the property line is crazy, like, kind of cuts into that existing parking area. So, I don't know if you're all aware of that, but Home Depot actually owns the end of that parking lot. You know, but we're not dealing with that, we're still sort of in negotiation with them, we're trying to get through to them about that. Right now, you know, we're working and, you know, repay the part that we owe.
So there'll be only one entrance in and out.
That's right, yeah.
There won't be like currently two.
Correct, yeah, because the other one's actually not on our property, so. Yeah, the other one was over here, right? So, you know, I'm sure you're all aware, Stewart's is, they're giving us a clean site, in other words, they're removing all the gas tanks.
Are they taking their equipment out on the inside too?
Yes.
Yeah.
The coolers and.
Yeah, every restriction.
Yeah.
Is there emergency exit out the back?
It was a side stack.
There's a, you know, there's a side door out here, out through we're bringing in the main package. Public, a single entrance building, that's got it's allowed.
So there's the minimal landscaping. We're keeping a lot of the kind of natural stuff. No big trees. The entranceway has kind of been modified to just actually leave the sidewalk that's in front of stores. You have to have a distance between cars and a stop and the access to get in, but that sidewalk will be covered over and, you know, little river stones put there, so we don't have to dig that up. And there's very minimal landscaping.
We're including an American flag there, right?
And there is a flagpole.
When you
About the
guys,
county's
Americans
flag.
on this Amish
When-
barn, we're putting the whole pallets of brochures.
It's 12 by 24. Go switch back to the architectural drawing.
Yeah.
Forward again. 24 by 12, yeah.
So wouldn't it just be easier to continue your trusses out that north end, throw an overhead garage door that looks like a barn door,
you don't have a separate building to deal with and you have your storage connected right to the building. That would cost a lot more.
Yeah, and that storage area is gonna hold up to 35,000 travel guides. That's 10,000 paths.
Yeah, that little thing can be, that little shed can be had for 20 grand, so. If you were talking about extending that big roof out over that would be a lot of money.
You probably get it cheaper than that. They just put
I don't
a nice
see
shed
it.
up there, Sportsman for 100,000. Big one.
It's a pretty tall thing, right? Yes, there's the existing,
I want to have books and stuff.
existing 9-foot plate. The trusses are 4 feet tall, so then we're going up on top of that, right? So
Run up against it and run the thing off with an overhead door on it. Can't push it $20,000. Take your word on it.
So I just want to go back to two things.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
I'm as shocked as you are about how expensive things are.
So-
It's tough. Nothing.
So Matt spoke in.
What's that?
I don't think you are.
He wants a
Oh,
American flag and a county flagpole. Both. We should have both there.
No chintzy flagpole either.
We should have both.
What's the height of the flagpole? It's not a,
30 foot.
yeah, it's not.
But American
a big-
flag's gotta be
It's not a
higher.
big presentation, enormous, it's a standard size.
Yeah, then we should have a county flagpole too at a lower.
30 foot.
Why don't you just put the county flag below the American?
That's what I was saying.
You have one pole.
Kinda.
I think flag protocol doesn't allow that.
No, not American flag.
Doesn't
American
allow
flag
that.
stands
Put
alone.
the MIA flag below the American flag.
American flag stands alone. We should have a county pole for a county flag at a lower height. And again, I was under the belief that we're definitely doing that little pavilion with the picnic benches. I didn't, at first I heard it was optional, so I would recommend doing that right off the bat.
Believe it or not, in the old visitor center, we did get a lot of
People will use it.
picnicking on those picnic tables.
Yeah, they're only looking at the through, cars don't buy them.
Yeah, but you notice that the curve.
It's actually a pretty nice spot where the thing is sitting.
Yeah.
And with one of my visits over to the existing stewards, I walked over there into that area.
Yeah.
And there's actually a picnic table sitting back there and people were sitting there having lunch. It's
Well, if
kind of
you,
nice, you know, it looks back.
if you look at their old building, I observed numerous occasions, people in the back end of that
Oh, yeah.
throughway park and ride,
Yeah.
having lunch, but using that building, their building.
Is Stewart's going to have,
So,
like, I think the one in Cat, and the one in the village, they put in tables outside. Is Stewart's going to have, benches outside?
I don't know specifically.
they probably do.
Their old building, our new building, the old stewards, they did have one picnic table outside.
Right.
We had 2 picnic tables and we had a lot
A lot
of.
of people.
I'm just thinking
Captain
people would
lunch
get
is
lunch
there.
or some, pick up something neat at Stewart's and maybe come sit over there.
Yeah, I think it looked perfect. And
Like-
you did have a lot of people use your picnic benches
Yes,
and
they
they
did.
used the parking lot in the back, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
So that's why when we started this out, I'm the guy that said, let's do a small pavilion with picnic benches.
So and you have to remember too, because we're the gateway to Greene County, when you get off the thruway, you always saw Stewart's. Now you're gonna see the visitor center.
Yeah, and
So
that's-
people are probably gonna go to the visitor center before they go to
And the fir-
Stewart's,
and the-
where it was vice versa,
and the-
just because of the location.
And the first thing you're gonna focus on is that atrium.
That's right. I can.
And you guys are gonna do stuff, so what better spot to do it than at the center underneath the pavilion? So if you have,
It hasn't gone away, so if you want to do, say yes.
It is a good transition. We wanted
Yeah.
Patty to talk about the inside space and the visitor experience and what she's been working on and what our plan for that might be. You want to hear that?
Yeah, so the space is approximately 21 feet by 28 feet. It's basically the same as the old visitor center, just shaped differently, more square. So what I'm looking at is 2 circular kiosks, 1 or 2, couple wall kiosks, that would be for all our printed material. On the back wall, and I'm not really sure placement, I've researched so many visitor centers across the United States in the last few months. And I've also inquired with a lot of these visitor centers as well as to what works and what hasn't worked. We would like a large screen TV to show all our video content that we've been capturing for the last 3 years. It may be paneled or it may be a full screen TV. That way we can run multiple videos, kind of like when you see commercials now, you can see them broken up or as a whole. So we would like that option. We would like that on a back wall because it's an eye catcher. You walk through the door, you're watching the video, you're standing in line for the bathrooms, you get to see this large screen and you watch the video. In the middle of, hopefully in the middle, depending on how it all works out with the blue line. I want a kiosk island. I want it to be interactive. It's gonna be computerized, and in the center will be a topographical map of Greene County, the whole county. You walk up to it, and it's broken down by region. And then it's touchscreen. So for an example, you go to Blackthorn. So you're looking for Blackthorn, Blackthorn's on the screen, everything around it pops up, everything. You can go to the Irish shop there, all the other resorts within that area shows up within that area. Also, I want, because I've been waiting a long time for this. 2 movable vertical screens where people can walk up to and touch as well. And you can get them 2-sided or 1-sided. And if they're movable, we can move them about throughout the center. Or maybe when you walk in the foyer way, as I'll call it, you have one there. All depending on what our needs and our wants are. So with that being movable, that would be great. We're obviously gonna have the local products retail area for our tchotchkes. People constantly come in. Postcards, keychains, magnets, t-shirts, anything Catskill, anything Great Northern Catskills. They're always looking for that. Historic postcards. We could sell honey, you know, we could have maple syrup. We could really expand in that area, but we would like an area for that. And then, this is kind of an extra on my part. Think about, what is your biggest attraction right now? I would like to have a screen. One, Catskill Falls, miniature version, inside the visitor center with waterfalls. I got cut out on that one, and I did research those too. But if I had a large screen.
Time out.
Well, that's for me. I really like a large screen with a video of the falls with sound. So that way you get the whole feel effect of Catskill Falls. You get the feeling. I'm trying to work with the senses here as well. And maybe there's just a little bench that's there and you sit on the bench and you can just enjoy the waterfalls.
Pictures.
Yeah, and you will actually see the running of the waterfalls on the TV screen. So basically it comes down to TV screens.
Or projection screens.
Or projection, depending on the price and how we want to move with that.
And with that said, you also are putting pressure to the state to increase their parking lot at the falls, right? Because as you know,
You wanna know what we've done for so long after COVID, when the falls were so overcrowded and they had parking issues and towing issues. We have marketed for so many years and have educated people that they're finally getting it.
no, they're not.
Well,
No, they're not. At the top of Laurel House Falls, where the people go to park, they park all the way up both sides of
I
the
know they
road.
do. 'Cause I've
You
just-
cannot get an ambulance down there. We got cops up there every day. What we have to do is aggressively go after the state. If you're gonna market that, you gotta have them provide ample parking, because you know what they do? Walk away.
Yeah.
Town of Hunter's left with the bag. And you know what it costs my people to run that? Unbelievable. So if you plan on doing that, plan on getting a hold of the state and make sure they can handle it, because it's a growing problem and it's getting worse every year. Warren, you know that.
I,
So just a quick comment. We've been working with county and local officials about parking, access, safety, all of that stuff. For the last several years, we have intentionally not advertised directly, paid out advertising Cattersville Falls. They just, everybody knows it, they find it, it's on
It's out
social
there.
media, it's out there. So we manage it, and what we do is we do advertising to get people to other locations in the county. Now, whether they take our advice or not, one thing, but we don't heavily push people to Cattersville Falls.
I know,
But it is our biggest attraction.
There's no doubt about it, unless we take the bull by the horns. Sending more people up there is not a good idea because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, last year in the fall and the summer, there was fist fights up there in the parking lot. The cops had to go, we had to arrest people. I mean, it's a nightmare.
I get where you're coming from, I totally understand.
I don't think you do, because
No,
you're
I
not answering the calls from the people that live on that road. And I'm telling you what, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
We
but
should
I
do this
need, I know
conversations.
you need additional parking up there, whether that's gonna solve the overcrowding end of it, I'm not sure.
The functionality of the space and the marketing, we can talk about.
Right.
Our focus is the design, the bid specs, getting it out to bid, that experience.
Conversation for
We'll have
another
a
day.
Continuing
Well,
conversation.
it's gotta be a conversation, it has to be had, because it is a problem.
Yeah, for another day, we can talk about that.
So I heard that my wife went up there recently. There's parking up at the old train station, and they created a new trail that comes across from the old train station. It's really nice. She said it was so much better than having to park and walk down the highway the way it was.
That's true, but you also go up North Lake Road and you turn down Laurel House Falls,
Small parking lots.
which is, the road's 20 feet wide at the widest spot. So you imagine a dirt road, it's a dirt road. You go down to the bottom and the state has a beautiful parking lot.
Not big though.
It's not big, and they actually made it twice as big since originally
Yeah.
was. And they made it bigger. But now, you got people coming down there and the parking lot's full. So the attendants tell them, no, you can't park here. So now you got a line of traffic on North-South Lake Road. You got people parking on this 20-foot wide road on both sides
Walking in.
and walking in. The cops gotta be called because now they're gonna tow cars, people are in the woods. Unless you actually lived it and seen it, it's a friggin' nightmare.
So Daryl, I know you know that the state has a new committee, a new program, they're studying that, they're looking specifically at how to manage overuse, state facilities. That's probably the number one on their list. I'm on that committee, local people are, so, they're trying to do what they can within the bounds of the state court to rectify those issues. And it's tough, and one group wants it this way and one group wants it that way, but there's a whole committee and resources and the state working. on it.
I know, just be careful what you wish for, is all I'm saying. Because you know what happens up there and what happens down here, are two different things.
So I'll just end by saying, I really want to repurpose all our video content that we have spent so much time and effort on. So besides utilizing it for all our social media platforms, it's utilized on I Love New York, it's utilized for Hudson Valley Tourism, Visit the Catskills, and now is a perfect opportunity to showcase Boulder video within the visitor center. And that's it, that's all we have space for.
Very good.
Well, if you think about it, this was the first exposure they're gonna have to Greene County. Anybody that comes here doesn't know about it, but they know about the northern Catskills now.
Of Greene County,
Yes, so Greene County, I mean,
of Greene County.
that thing's got, it looks great, the way that it is and the things that you need.
And I think people need to understand also that in our old visitor center, which wasn't really accommodating for visitors,
No,
we get 5,000 visitors in and out of there.
How many?
And we're open
5,000?
7 days a week.
5,000, you said?
5,000, and we write everybody down, not our bathroom users. People that want information, And that's a lot of people coming through your front door.
Just to add to that, with the reconfiguration at exit 21 west and east there, the hotel stewards and now the open sight lines and the visibility is markedly different there when you get off the thruway and look at that area without our old visitor center. But the number of visitors that are gonna come to that, to our visitor center is gonna expand significantly.
And it's gonna increase also because all our New York, I Love New York visitor centers all along the thruway, they don't take any printed material in, right? They only take video. So again, that's how we repurpose all the video we get, but we have the printed material. And that's all the difference in the world, because where else? You can't get off in Ulster County, you know, unless you're all the way up on the north.
One more interesting piece on that. We all know how important tourism is to Greene County and its economic benefits. I recently read something. There's a economic development firm called Longwoods International. They're experts on tourism and economic impacts. They recently did a study and they found that 70%, roughly 70% of people that move to a new area to either live or open a business did so as a result of a prior visit to that location. And we know for decades how important New York City is and other areas of bringing new people here and new residents and new investment in hospitality businesses. They call that tourism is the first date of economic development. And we live that and we see that, we all know people, we all ask them in economic development, where did you come from, how did you find it? Most of them say it's because we visited Greene County as part of the tourism trip.
So you're number orientated, so I will tell you this. It was probably 5-6 years ago, you've all gone up the mountain road, and you know the horseshoe bend where the falls are, right? And you know how hard it is to get in there and walk in and out now that Molly Smith's is closed and the parking's down there. So Rod Dawson has a little box where you sign in. 30 to 40,000 people that year signed that little book, walking those stairs up. So that's not including how many people go to the top and go all around. So 5,000 is good, but you might want to think about maybe putting something on the mountaintop as far as visitor center as well.
That does come up pretty frequently, and I know how heavily people use the mountain.
30,000 people going up that right there. That's a lot of people.
So just a little bit of timeline. We're at basically 100% design development. The drawings are done, the bid specification manuals are done. We would have normally asked permission of the legislature and our partner, the IDA, to go out to bid. Get the bids, get a schedule, see what the prices come back. Because of Stewart's new building and they're gonna be paving and finishing the project in the spring, we have to time our bid specification documents to dovetail with when we think they're gonna hand the keys to us. Because we can't be too far ahead of them, because when we get prices, they're only good for so long. They're gonna put performance bonds up as part of the bid document. So we do have a window that we didn't expect to have with this project to go out to bid. So we do have a little bit of time to answer more questions, look at items that came up tonight. We can talk about it again at other meetings. But when Stewart says we're ready to go, we need to be ready to go as well.
And I do know, because I was in there this weekend, that their staff has been told they're moving April 15th of this year. That was the new date. As long as everything works with New York State.
And we backed that up about 2 months. Because they have to do the remediation, the tanks, take everything out, and then hand us the keys before we did.
So I didn't go through all the drawings, there's a whole pile of drawings here, the plans.
Did they start?
And the cover sheet, but
There is a permitting.
I brought in paper documents and that will, Warren's office, so you can all go and look at that. but also got PDFs of it too, so. But some people, including myself, prefer paper documents. Just see it better, I don't know. So anyway, that'll be.
Mike's not alone, apparently.
And the project manual, and so that's all there, there'll be more on. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, nothing else coming before economic development, I entertain a motion to close.
Okay, close.
Lennon and Bloomer, we are closed.
Thanks for checking with all those other businesses. No rush. Up inside the front door of the building.
No, not really. A lot of it's just TVs. We already have the video. I will stay.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'd like to open government operations at 7:26. Good evening, everyone. We have 7 resolutions. I'll get right into them. Number 1 is a resolution in opposition to New York State Senate Bill S 7794 and New York State Assembly Bill A 8336. An act to amend the Public Authorities Law and Chapter 154 of the laws of 1921 relating to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in relation to contracts to provide food services at authority-owned and operated transportation facilities and rest areas.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from this matter.
You're retired.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Wait, if I make discussion. When we had the two-way gas station closed, remember we had the ability to take the gas tax away? And we talked about how we would be losing so much money, by not imposing the tax for the county. So now you're talking about taking a business and giving them 52 days a year to close. You know how much revenue we're losing a year by letting them not operate? You should be, if you take that contract, you should be operating 365 days a year.
Well, have you ever gone into a throughway rest area that has 3 restaurants and you walk in there and it's 7 o'clock at night and you have one choice because the other 2 are closed?
Absolutely.
So my feeling is, what does it matter?
Absolutely.
What it does though, is it sets a precedent for New York State government telling businesses, you're gonna be open when we want you to be open, or we're gonna shut you down.
So.
This is their whole thing. This is Chick-fil-A's philosophy.
Right.
So if
they
you didn't
took
know it on the front end, why did you have them come in?
Everybody knows.
You can't change it
Chick-fil-A is
now.
Closed on Sunday.
Well, I don't know, just my opinion here, I don't know that this is specific to any business. I think it has more to do with the bidding process, and how bids are awarded. These are public authorities. By design, they're designed as hands-off for government agencies. They're not, the New York State Thruway Authority is not a government agency, it's quasi-government. It's an authority. So they have a different set of rules. So the Port Authority is the same thing. I mean, realistically, when you have a controlled access road with rest areas, you would think that would be part of the contract, part of the bid spec that you wanted to see. They didn't. Why? I don't know why. But is it a good idea going forward? It probably would be a good idea to have that in a bid spec saying you need to be open. Somebody needs to be open here every day. I'm not sure I can pigeonhole this to a Chick-fil-A or to any specific business. But I don't know, and I agree, I think this is an overreach of the government in trying to dictate things, but it should have been part of the bid spec.
See, I'd be willing to bet that these authorities look at how much revenue and how many people go to these specific restaurants and compare a Chick-fil-A to a Burger King or to a Taco Bell. The line at Chick-fil-A and the way they conduct their business in 6 days probably does in 6 days what it would take one of those other restaurants 3 weeks to do.
So that only makes it more of a loss for us. So if you're gonna take a whole day, right, that's a lot more money we're losing. You just made my case. Thanks,
Can't be
Mike.
pigs to slaughter.
But is the case to make money or is the case to provide service?
You're making money for us and you're
We're
providing
not
a
supposed
service
to be
for the
concerned
traveling
about
public.
making money for the government through businesses. That shouldn't be the role of government.
If that business is making more money, it's less you're gonna take out of your taxpayer's pocket.
We know what
Government
happens in
decides
New York.
that.
Yeah, I don't think government should decide. Let's support the one that'll make us more money. That's that one. All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Who is opposed?
Opposed.
So that's all I
And you got that?
I have 2 opposed.
Two opposed, 1 abstain.
Carries the.
Yes.
Okay, number 2, amending resolution number 279-11, adoption of the Greene County Administrative Manual.
Lavera.
Martinez. Here and Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Number 3, authorizing and obtaining and furnishing of assessment role-related services and materials.
Martinez.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed? Number 4, budget amendment, Greene County Clerk, digitization of records.
Lavera.
Here and Lucas, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Number 5, correcting assessment roll, Town of Caro, Labino, Hakajin, Seymour, Johnson, Hakajin, tax map ID number 84.00-3-15.
Lennon. Like Lennon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Number 6, correcting assessment roll, Town of Cooksaki, Tanya M. Hall, tax map ID number 69.00-4-15.
Martinez.
Martinez and Hobart, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Number 7, correcting assessment roll, Town of Durham, Mitzi Sue Fregman, tax map ID number 21.00-5-2.11.
Lavera. Lennon.
Lavera and Lennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? That concludes the resolutions. Does anybody have anything else to bring in front of?
Just a correction, if I go back to number 1, Linda is not here, so that would be a no vote as well. Correct.
I need a motion to close.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Martinez like.
Okay, we are closed.
I'll second.
Ready? Call Finance Committee to order, have several action items. 45. Matt, if you'll refrain from
Try to keep still.
anything, we'll get through these. Thank you. Number one, adopting annual investment policy.
Lavera.
Buelich.
Mr. Buelich, second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number two, resolution urging action by New York State Legislator advocate on behalf of Columbia Greene Community College to increase funding. I'd like to make that.
I'll second that.
Martinez Linger,
Martinez, Davis,
Davis,
Leader,
and Winger.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Three is authorized agreement, create council on the arts.
Leg,
Buelich.
Leonard Buelich, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. More.
Thank you.
not Leonard, Leg.
Oh, excuse me.
You're excused.
Speak up, please. Carried. Turn around. Number four, authorize Greene County Culture Fund contracts.
Davis.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Buelich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Five, authorizing participation round 4 of the state septic system repair program.
Buelich. Linger and Buelich.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number 6, authorize agreement with New York State Department of Transportation and ARC Mid-Hudson Section 5311, operating capital assistance for sponsors with continuing agreement and third-party operators. Leonard.
Davis.
David, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. Number 7, authorizing vehicle purchase, Greene County Transit.
Davis.
Buelich and Mr. Davis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. Number 8, establishing a roster of 911 communication support companies. I'll make that.
Second.
Chairman seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number 9, establishing roster of emergency planning consultants.
Davis.
Chairman and Mr. Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 10th, authorizing disability awareness training agreement, emergency service.
Davis.
Davis.
Linger.
Chairman seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 11, authorizing change order necessary for completion of construction inspection service replacing Ed Bloomberg Road Bridge over to Gooseberry Creek, pin number 3-20096-0, town of Hunter, pin number 1761.25.
Leg,
Mr. Lake, who seconds it?
Davis.
Mr. Davis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 12, authorizing change order number 1 through 8 necessary for the completion of the placement of the Bloomer Road Bridge over Gooseberry Creek, pin number 20096-0, town of Hunter, pin number 1761.25. Mr. Lake?
Leonard,
Mr. Leonard, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 13, authorizing change order number 1 and 2 necessary for the completion of the replacement of Timberlake Road Bridge over Broad Street, Howell Stream, town of Lexington, pin number 1761.21.
leg,
Buelich.
Leg and Mr. Bewley, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 14, authorizing change order number 1 necessary for the completion of the replacement of County Route 83 culvert and pedestrian bridge, town of Hunter, pin number 1760.23.
leg,
Leonard. Leonard seconds it. Boy, everything's going up the mountain. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Number 15, authorize expansion of services, advanced enterprise replacement County Route 2 culvert from an unnamed tributary to the Scary Creek, town of Lexington.
Buelich.
leg,
Which is Mr. Lake seconds it. Boy, he lost that one, that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried.
I might have that one.
Number 16, authorize lease agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, aging, town of Carroll.
Leonard,
The letter.
Linger.
Linder second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 17, authorize agreement between Greene County Department of Human Service, Aging, Nicole Erpman, MSRD CD-N.
Davis.
Lincoln, Mr. Davis, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 18, authorize agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Home Aid Services of Eastern New York, DBA Trinity Health Alert.
Leonard.
Leonard, Bueller, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. Number 19, authorize agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Pure Foods LLC, a DBA Mom's Meals.
Davis.
Leonard.
Davis, Mr. Bueller, Mr. Leonard, second also. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 20, authorize agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Senior Project of Ravenna.
Linger.
Bueller, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 21, authorize agreement, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Unique Training Solution.
Leonard.
Leonard.
Davis.
Mr. Davis and Mr. Lake, seconds it also. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 22, authorization purchase vehicle, Greene County Human Service, Ford Transit 350.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Linger.
Mr. Linger, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 23, awarding bid meals, canned goods, frozen supplies, and paper goods. It's to Green Ginsberry.
Bueller.
Mr. Bueller.
Leonard.
Leonard, seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 24, authorized agreement, Greene County Mental Health Community Services Board and Mental Health Association, Columbia and Greene County, Inc., budget amendment.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Linger.
Mr. Linger, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 25, authorized agreement, Greene County Family Planning Cancer Service Program.
Davis.
Davis.
Leonard.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Approving 26, approving individual provider contract preschool special education program.
Davis.
Bueller.
Bueller, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. 27, approval related service provider contract preschool special education program.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Bueller.
Bueller, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 28, authorized agreement, Greene County Public Health, Maria College.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Leonard.
Mr. Leonard, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 29, authorizing conference attendance, Christy Moon, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, Greene County Public Health Department.
Leonard.
Davis, Mr. Leonard, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 30, authorizing out-of-state travel, Greene County Emergency Service, Neil Kelleher, 911 System Coordinator. Martinez,
Bueller.
Bueller, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. 31, appointing member, Community Service Board.
Bueller.
Bueller.
Davis.
Davis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 32, authorizing obtaining and furnishing of assessment role related services and materials.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 33, authorizing obtaining and furnishing of election related services and materials.
Bueller.
Bueller, Mr. Hobart. Geez, I was wondering where you were, Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 34, authorization to facilitate 24 annual village election.
Rivera.
Hobart, Mr. Oh,
Hobart. And Rivera.
Little general. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Resolution accepting.
Yes, sir.
35, resolution accepting bid for sale of MREM property. Martinez.
Davis.
Davis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 36, amending capital project number 127, open settlement.
Linger?
Davis, Chairman. Favor?
Aye.
37, budget amendment, Greene County Clerk, visitation records.
Bueller.
Village.
Lennon.
Mr. Lennon, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's also carried. 38, budget amendment, Greene County Board of Election, absentee ballot, prepaid postage.
Hobart. Bueller.
Hobart, Mr. Bueller, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 39, budget amendment, Greene County Board of Election, Technology, Innovation, and Election Resource Grant Program.
Rivera.
Bueller, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 40, budget amendment, Greene County Human Services, UMet Needs Grant.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Linger?
Your seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 41, budget amendment, Hudson Valley National Center for Veterans Integration, Inc., contract, New York State Office of Mental Health.
Hobart. Lennon.
Hobart, Lennon, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 42, correct assessment roll, town of Carroll. I can't pronounce it, so, maybe,
Moore Johnson.
Mr. Ward can. Any event, tax map ID B 4.07-3-15.
Bueller.
Bueller. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 43, correct assessment roll, town of Coxsackie, Tanya M. Hall, tax map ID number 69.00-4-15. Tommy, you want to take it? No, second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 44, correct assessment roll, town of Durham, 52, regular. Tax map ID number 21-0 or .00-5-2.11.
Bueller.
Davis, Mr. Bueller, seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 45, authorization to pay claims highway.
Bueller.
Mr. Bueller, Mr. Hobart, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 46, authorization to pay claims. I'll take it. Hobart, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. That's all the resolutions. We have the treasurer with us tonight. Peter, whatever you got to tell us, it's good news.
You see on the report, no surprises. End of the year numbers, what's up is up, what's down is down. The interesting thing to see though, is we have to go into the schools and villages in March. It's close to $11 million. But I will tell you, as a facility, we have $92 million.
You think we can afford to pay it? That it? Ray, you got anything?
Nope.
Take a couple days off.
Things
coming in
are
tonight.
good.
Take a couple days off, right?
Anything else come before finance?
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
We're closed. Thank you.